Countdown slides here. Oh yeah. That's
And you said back chat was there, right? So.
All right, thank you for this, Dad. It's fine. Let's move on.
We have to work to talk. All right, cool. All right. Hey, everybody. Everybody, can I get your attention? There was supposed to be a countdown. Apparently, the countdown has already gone to 0. But I just want to let you guys know that you are here for season 5, episode 2 of weAReVR. We've been rocking this ever since 2018. Is that correct, Dale? Yeah. So as far as it goes, the guys actually being so immersive into the tech. Obviously, we're now talking about AI and the likes. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Daliso Ngoma. I'll be your MC tag teaming with Dale Deacon. Yeah, so can we hear whoop whoop? Awesome. Okay, so now it is welcome. I'll just be getting Dale to introduce what today is all about, or tonight to be exact. And then obviously I'll be sharing a bit of news and then getting on to the speakers. So a warm round of applause for Dale Deacon.
I always have to adjust this down just a little bit after this. So, welcome everybody, welcome to weAReVR. Full house tonight. Thank you so much for coming through. The first thing I always do at one of these meetups is I try and find out who's in the room. Okay. So the first question is, who here is an artist? Who thinks of themselves as an artist? Who's an artsy person? Who does creative things all day and loves it? Nice bunch. Very good. Welcome. You're among friends. Who are the nerdy developers, the coders, the agents, branders? Yeah. Nice. Welcome. Who am I missing? Entrepreneurs? Yeah? I think there'll be some overlap. What about marketing? Yeah? Scattered, yeah? There's always a lawyer or two in the room. What else? What did I miss? Anybody? Who did I miss? Government workers. Yeah. Welcome. All right, well, even if I did this to anybody, weAReVR is for everybody. It's a welcoming space. You're welcome. So thanks for coming through. This is what we do. I'm like clinging on to this idea of this term extended reality, but like it's a messy thing. On the one hand, you have augmented reality, like Pokemon Go. It like brings something magical into your real world. And we've got a bunch of smart glasses here that do just that. They bring fantastical digital ideas into the real world. And on the other end of the spectrum, virtual reality, we ourselves go plunging into like a virtual world. And so extended reality is sort of those two things and everything in between. You know, you get spatial audio and you get 360 video, and there's a lot of different technologies. And what we're interested in doing is bringing the suite of technologies and these people who are working these technologies together, bringing them together under one roof, hanging out, sharing ideas, sharing proof of concepts, sharing like launched products. We're here to share ideas and share everything with each other and figure it out, right? Because we're up against Silicon Valley, and sorry for them, but they're going to lose. So we started this thing like 8 years ago, 2018. It was a while ago, just in the same building actually at the Tomorrow Gallery. Those are photos from the very first meetup that we had. Less attendance, but you know, I would say like equal enthusiasm. I think this technology like gets people really excited, and I think the people that attend this event sort of get it. I think we all sort of recognize that there's a lot of potential in this technology. It's a very like social technology, it's a very cultural technology, which is in stark contrast to a lot of other technologies. So, you know, I think the fact that we've been around for a while is testament to the fact that, you know, we're coming here for a good reason. So thank you all for, you know, being like-minded, forward-thinking people. Just a couple of pictures here of like some of the events that we've had over the years. you'll see in the middle there's alt space when we had to go digital during COVID, and there's like the Eden Labs headset that they made. It was just so beautiful. Deliso on stage, the Gezi, so many good times. And we'll continue to do that, especially if you give us money. So we're selling this merch, but what we're doing is it's about membership, right? We're not trying to just shill you merch. We want to grow this community. We want to give you cool things. We want to really build this momentum, right? We also want to put some money towards like marketing and advertising to get the word out, so that other like-minded people can come and join us and help us work on these cool things. So the idea is, well, we weren't going to just do shirts and sell them and try and make a quick buck. The idea is to do membership, so you get a membership for a year, you get a free t-shirt, isn't that cool? Or you can get a sort of upper tier membership for like a slightly more colorful shirt. So it's there on the website, it's on weAReVR.jozi.org. So please check it out, please support if you can. We'd really, really appreciate it. So yeah, that's enough of that. But if you want to look cool like Gary, you know. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to hand over back to my good friend Deliso Ngoma from africantechno.com.
All right.
He's going to take you through the news, and then we'll move on to the speakers.
All right. Thank you so much. So, I'm pretty much the dealer within this community. In a good sense, I'm the one who actually supplies the hardware. So for anybody who's actually looking at the sunglasses I'm actually wearing, these would be the Ray-Ban Metas, the wafers, where, for example, I think when we actually have time, you guys can actually wear them, ask questions where it'll be like, hey Meta, what am I looking at? Hey Meta, what is weather today? Simple stuff. But the funny thing is that for whatever reason, it seems like this is the year of the wearables. Wearables, of course, smartwatches and the likes, but again, wearing tech without actually having to have it be so intrusive. I can see the man right there with his phone. You can just imagine if, for example, he just had a set of glasses just recording without actually having to do that.
Send it over, do that.
So as far as it goes, I think we've got quite a few contenders in the ring for this year. We're looking at Samsung, Google, Meta, and Apple, all accelerating when it comes to wearable tech in terms of glasses. Not too sure as to where that will actually play us to be, but that's also just being played towards also AI as well. Anybody who's actually been following things like OpenClaw, I think that went through a rebrand 3 times for anybody who's actually in the circle. But I think that's primarily just been it, that we are looking at immersive tech, where it isn't so much of like a catch-all term. I think even before COVID it was what, 4IR? I'm not so sure whoever is actually using that term these days, but that's primarily it. So again, is that I think for today, it's not so much heavy in terms of any particular news, but it's just more of a case of experimenting. I'd actually want to encourage anybody, when it comes to any of these same particular tools, you'll be very surprised. Quite a lot of them are free, some of them actually cost a little bit of cash and one from another, but just play around with the tech. You'll be very surprised that you play around with the tech right now, especially with everybody in this particular room, that you might already be in the frontier. When I actually say Claude, put your hands up if you actually recognize Claude. Oh, we've actually got quite a few people. ChatGPT? Yeah, and then obviously I think Minimax. You see, a few people here and there. And then the other that, for example, we've got Hollywood. No, but as far as it stands, it's just the primary fact that these are tools for creation. If anybody who's actually done code, considering the fact that you've always had to like write it in terms of a keyboard and one from another, imagine just being able to describe what you actually want and getting it represented and actually being able to architect it. So I think that's just the news report for today. And then obviously getting onto the speakers, which will be introduced by Dale. Give Dale another round of applause.
All right, so I mean, a lot of you here are going to be sharing what you've been up to, so thank you for coming through. If us and Electric South have put together an amazing project, an amazing program. Futures past, you guys know a lot more about it than I do, so I'm not going to over extend it, but you guys are going to be the stars of the show. We're excited to hear what you have to say, but we're also excited to engage with you. You know, as the sort of Joburg XR community afterwards, after we've learned what your projects are about, we hope to give you some like feedback and engage on the ideas and maybe challenge some ideas and see how we can help. The other guest that we have today is Andrew McHenry, right? Andrew McHenry, I've met recently. He's a big player in the mobile app development scene, and he's making the transition over to the extended reality space. So he's going to be chatting to us a little bit about the smart glasses stuff that he's up to with his team. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming through, and I hope you'll enjoy.
All right. Whoa.
Hello, everyone. I was telling some people earlier, I get really nervous and I'm a little bit shy, but let's see how this goes. So I'm Lauren, the Audiovisual Project Manager at the French Institute of South Africa, which is the cultural division of the French Embassy to South Africa, Lesotho, and Malawi. What we do in the audiovisual department is we work across gaming, animation, series, film, digital arts, archives, podcasts, a bit of media, all of the things to make it really fun. And we don't have that much money to work on all of those things, but essentially what we try and do is connect up professionals in our 3 countries with professionals in France so that we can learn from each other, connect, hopefully then they go out and build things together and find money to do so. We had an open call that came our way about a year ago from the French Ministry for European and Foreign Affairs, and we applied for a project called Futures Past. And we've been doing quite a lot of work in archives for the last few years, mainly digitizing archives, because we know how important it is to keep our histories, protect our histories, and make sure that they last beyond us. But of course, I mean, I love digital arts, you know, I'm here all the time, and we wanted to look at, okay, how can we take archives and merge them with tech, innovation, make these stories accessible to wider audiences, because of course our archives are often stored in spaces that aren't accessible to the public, and also how do we take these archives for stories that are so important and show them in a way that they are relevant to the people watching them. What is that story? So they're not just looking at letters or photos or films, but they have a bigger, more complex, nuanced narrative around that. So we got the funding. Yay! And this project has several different phases to it. The first one is a mapping study, which Ajwa from our amazing partners at Electric South will come up and share more details on shortly. And of course we partner with Electric South because who knows more about immersive arts in South Africa? Like, they are an amazing partner. And we thought the mapping study was really important because it's the kind of grounding to know, okay, what is actually happening in these 3 countries, who are the players, and how can we build for a sort of longer trajectory after this project. Our second phase of the project is a production phase. So we sent out an open call for archives across the 3 countries, and we thought it was going to be really difficult because, you know, of course, archives are these precious materials. You have to be really careful about how they're interpreted, who's interacting with them, how they are presented out in the world. So, okay, are we going to get applications? Are archives actually want to, like, do they want to work with artists and show it to the bigger world? And we got 66 applications from the 3 countries. And we were so happy. And then we launched an open call for creative teams across the 3 countries to pair with our then selected archives. And we again put in a whole bunch of hurdles like, okay, they need to apply with a technologist, a producer, a director, a trainee producer for immersive arts. You know, like in a lot of these countries, like, do these people know each other? Do they want to work together? Do they want to work with archives? And we got 66 applications. That's 250 people that said, yes, they want to be part of this project. And we're very happy that we have a whole bunch of those people in this room today. We will be calling them all on stage briefly to talk a little bit about their projects. That we are at the really early stage. They just met with their archives in December, January. So they're busy putting their ideas together, building that, seeing what that can actually be, as well as some of the archives don't have physical space, so they're dreaming up these exhibitions, figuring out what they look like, where they're going. So we're going to see what happens over the next 8 months, holding thumbs. And so from August to December, we'll be launching 6 immersive arts exhibitions in 3 countries, 2 in Joburg, 2 in the Western Cape, 1 in Lesotho, 1 in Malawi. While we are doing this, we're also doing a training program. So each team has a trainee immersive arts producer under the age of 30 that is joining the team along the process. We are doing training sessions every second week, so we are getting experts in the field from France, from across Africa, locals to share what it is that they know how to do this. And the last phase is we are sending 20 people to France in about a month. And they'll be going to New Images Festival and meeting with other archives, working with immersive arts and other immersive arts practitioners. And the hope from there is that they meet practitioners from across Europe so that, again, once this project is done, there can be some legs, some other connections so we can build the project out further from there. And I was thinking with this entire project is that, yeah, this might just be 6 projects, but hopefully it's the starting opportunities for more projects and skills and opportunities to grow from here. So having said all of that, I'm going to hand over to Ajla to chat a little bit about the very important mapping study, and then we'll jump over to some of the teams.
Hi everyone. I hope that I've met a lot of you. It's nice to be standing here amongst so many friends. I'm here to talk about the mapping study. So this is an incredible project and it's really important to Electric South. We were so grateful that IFAS saw us as a national partner. But for us, you know, Electric South has been around for 10 years and it's done a lot of work around development, and I guess a lot of the same work that's being done here. But after 10 years, there was a recognition that we need to transition into making the case for more people to understand what we're doing. I think everyone can attest that we're making really incredible work, but often when you're showing it, people are just so fascinated with what it is, they're missing, you know, the incredibleness of the work. So there's a huge gap between where all the people in this room are and where my gran is, where your niece is, you know, where everyone else is. And so for us, it's important to be partners in these kind of projects that are test cases and that are there to bring more people in. So as Lauren shared, part of the thinking with the mapping study is to have a longer term vision, because there is some research in this space. Dale has been part of the Africa XR report, so is Gareth, so is Judith, well done to them. But there's still a lot of work in creating foundational research in this space. There's a lot of people actually writing about Africa, which, you know, red flags. Because you want to be telling the story of your own community. So, but what it is when we see so many people writing about it, PhD researchers reaching out to us, it tells us that maybe we're onto something. And so there's a reason that we should be crafting that narrative. So we've been going around South Africa, Lesotho, and Malawi. We went to Joburg in Cape Town, we went to Blantyre in Lilongwe, we went to Maseru in Mauritius. And we've been speaking to everyone. Everyone who's been willing to speak to us, everyone who has been able to make some time during the time that we're there. We still have the survey open, so we've done it 2 ways. One is the survey and one is the interviews, and then also the focus groups. So the focus groups are over, but the survey is not. It's open until the 28th. I ask that you please fill in the survey, but also share the survey. We want to capture as many people as possible. If you are working with teams of other people, if you have a production company, please don't just fill it in yourself. Please pass it on to your team to fill it in as well, because part of what we're also trying to do is create a directory for these 3 countries so that we can find each other. A lot of what has come out from this research is that there's a lot of amazing pieces of this ecosystem, but we definitely don't know where everyone else is. People have no idea what those roles are, and so if we can list them, we both find each other, but we also produce a report that says, look at all these people making careers in the space. Maybe it's time to develop it, maybe it's time to do policy work around it, maybe it's time to expand it that way. So, like I said, please make sure 28th is on Sunday. So, Saturday. Saturday is not a lot of time, so please, if you could push your team members to all fill it in, not just one person. It's not like security. What else? I think, another thing is that we're also still doing some online interviews. So to the extent that you feel like your voice hasn't been captured, that you had more to say maybe from a focus group and you thought about something that was provoked there, you want to share again, or you know someone who you realize we missed out on speaking to and is in your network, because we could only do so much in terms of finding people. Please reach out to us. We will be scheduling online interviews across all 3 countries, even for people who are outside of the country, who are part of the story of this country. Because part of what we're doing with the mapping study is making sure that we are really telling the story of the XR in these 3 countries. We know it's not just the people who are working currently. We know the current picture is not really reflective of the 10, 15 or more years of work that a lot of people have done in this space. So if there are people who are in Germany, but you know that they're critical to a study about South Africa or a study about Malawi or a study about Lesotho, please make sure that you reach out to us and we can schedule an online interview with them. Our online interviews cut off on the 15th, where we start our analysis. So yeah. And other than that, other than to say that every single country has had the elements of the ecosystem, we found people who are making work, we found people who have the equipment, we found places that are teaching at different stages, we found groups that are meeting, and so we're also thinking about creative ways of how we disseminate this research so that it's not just a PDF and not just something that's on the computer that you scroll past, but how do we make those conversations happening? If we identify someone who is creating meetups in South Africa, and there's someone else doing meetups in Lesotho, they should surely meet, and so that's also part of the work that we're doing to try and make it a real dissemination of the research that is useful to our community first, and then also to the rest of the world. Congratulations to everyone in the room, congratulations to the team, and I'm looking forward. And we will share, of course, we're going to share the report with everyone. We're going to share the report with everyone. Yes?
When will this be done?
Yes, we're going to share this. We're aiming to start dissemination in June. This is the aim. So that's why we're cutting off and doing analysis from March and report writing. So yeah, but we are hoping to lead up to it. Also to say that, like, with your own projects, we need to collectively, as a community, create a lot of hype around this. There may be a lot of people who do not have headsets, or do not have the wearables yet, right? We know that they will. But we want to introduce people to this terminology, everything that Dale has presented, through these location-based experiences. It's when we get traffic at these museums or at these archives, and then we get people no longer going, oh my gosh, I can't fit. Now they're engaging with, oh, there's a story and what's happening, and we're starting to advance our audience. So, you can't share enough. People now know you as a team, so maybe share your behind the scenes, build up the hype, so that when we launch this, we have lines around the block queuing to come and see these immersive experiences, and also so that they can stay a long time, so that they can travel, so that other people want to have them in their spaces. That's not going to happen if this community is quiet about this work. It was also really important to us to have the training producer program happen in the way that it is, because I think there's a tricky thing about this world in that you can't really just, it's hard to just learn it really quickly. It takes a lot of trying and a lot of breaking and a lot of mistakes. It takes working on actual projects and failing and asking people. And so we also want to make the case that if people are teaching this work, there needs to be projects that people are working on. They need to come out with portfolios. And so that's part of the work of the trainee producer program. So if you are the trainee producers, also share your journey. Say, this is where I started and this is where it was. And it was because I was able to work on a real project that's going to be seen by real people for entertainment value, for thinking value, for memory value, that this way of teaching has worked. I think I'm going to take off my policy hats and give it back to everyone else in the room, and thank you for coming.
So just quickly to spotlight the other team members that are here. Did I see Mercy here?
No.
I saw a familiar face. So there are a whole bunch of other researchers working with Adjura as well, which is great, including Mercy, the lead researcher. We have Kanda, who is our producer, manager, doing all the exhibitions between the archives and the artists and all the tricky stuff. We have the wonderful Melissa back there, who is the project manager across the entire project. We have Sophia and Ifas and a whole bunch of other team members that are also just as important. But wrapping up that, I am going to call up each team in a very light, informal way. Don't be too nervous. So I'm going to call you up teams at a time. If the archive representative is here, if you can just say maybe a minute about your archive and its importance. And then if one of the representatives from the creative team, just say where you are with the process of what it is that you're wanting to do, so that everyone here has a kind of sense of the potential direction, and it gives you some nice things to chat about afterwards as well. So with that, starting alphabetically, I'm going to call up the Kwatu team.
Sorry, we are anything. And with that, I am going to first hand over to the Kwatu team to just talk about the archive. They're very shy. So,
Good evening, everybody. We have a very special archive at a place called Kwatu. It's on the west coast. It comes from a horrible time, 30 years of war between South Africa and Angola, where indigenous hunters and gatherers, the Kon and the Kwe people, were caught in crossfire on the river that borders between these two countries, Namibia and Botswana. And it resulted that these people were deprived of their land and suddenly found themselves in the middle of a horrible war. Some of these people joined the Angolan army and some joined the South African army just in order to survive. Eventually, it suddenly ended in the late 80s, and a few people, about 10,000 Common people, were taken with a plane and left in the middle of South Africa, near Kimberley, on the Vaal River, as refugees, and were basically forgotten for 10 years and lived in a tented camp. And during this time, these people got involved in art, and they created the most beautiful, beautiful art, where they told their stories and expressed their feelings and expressed some of the horrors they've gone through. They've also done lino cuts, and this was over, and they moved to a new location, and all these lino cuts ended up in boxes, in closets, and we were very fortunate as a sand project on the West Coast to have received these archives, these linocuts, beautiful, beautiful pieces, almost 600 of them, telling incredible stories of people who were once entirely connected to their environment, to hunting and gathering, to have moved across to running around with rifles and killing people. A culture of never killed people before, who've always lived in harmony and peace. And this has obviously created an incredible story. And this is the archive. We've found an amazing team to bring these stories alive. We also found the people who actually did this. There was a lot of people were artists. There are only 8 people left alive. They are very old. One person is permanently in hospital. 3 are blind, and they all do stories. And we are really entrusting our team to work with these amazing artists and to bring their stories alive. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Aliso. We've got Uma on the team as cultural director. We've got Tando on the team. We've got Inka, Tando trainee director. Inka, our technologist. We've got Faye as our producer, and we're really excited again. and me, I had to stuff too. And yeah, so we're really excited to work through an applied theatre process, a deeply considered process as well, with the 7 lino-cut creators to also gather story, at which point then we'll animate this via 2D and 3D Gaussian splats, Pepper's ghost, and kind of projection map onto these lino cuts and then print them out so they can also be tactile within this incredible space that Watu has invited us in. All right, thank you.
Okay, so let's keep it in the Western Cape. So next up, we have the Zika and UWC team.
Whoa.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm the director of the piece that's called Lucid Dreams for Sweetwater, s5.e2. It's part of a larger exhibition about the river systems in Cape Town. We focus on the Camisa waterways, which is where we get the term Sweetwater, which is what Camisa means. For me, what's really great about working with Iziko is that it is an institution that does have a very consistent audience, a very young audience. There are school kids in there all the time. And so to be making work about water now, when doing research, we, as the UN put it in a state of like water bankruptcy, yeah, I feel really like honored to be given this opportunity for custodianship about how we relate to water in the city. So thank you. In terms of where we're at in the story, our concept has many things going on right now, but something that's holding it together is this kind of idea that I heard a while ago about Table Mountain being in the shape of a sleeping giant. And previously, in a past life, when I was an activist, I was really pissed off with the sleeping giant for not like getting woke, like can't you see what's going on here, and like resolving that into a place where I'm like, well, perhaps this giant sleeps and we live its dream, and how do we participate, how do we live lucidly in a dream of the mountain of the earth. And so there's a kind of an expression that's asking to reconnect with nature to improve the quality of that dream. And we tell history of water's arrival on Earth, that bringing life to the planet, to contemporary water realities and kind of issues of pollution and disconnection. And then we have glimpses into potential futures. So just really slowing down time. I will tell you a bit about how we can, yeah.
Our wonderful creative director, Sarah. I'm the technologist. Adi is our junior producer. Our producer couldn't make it today, unfortunately, and we have an Zico representative with us, so I think I'm not gonna. This isn't gonna be long at all. We're gonna do projection, I think, but it's all like it's all a soup of ideas right now, which is lovely. But the idea is to make a cylindrical room and project these stories of the history of water and the river systems in Cape Town on these walls. So it's an idea that you walk in and yeah, you see this whole history unfold in front of you. We want some interactive elements. We're not sure how we're going to do that yet, but we have ideas. So yeah, that's us.
Hello everyone, thank you. So on my side, I represent Iziko. So it's one of the oldest museums that we have. Yes, last year we were celebrating 200 years. So you mentioned such exhibition. So for us, as I represent the exhibition team and all about production, but it's such an important opportunity for this collaboration because you see like there's a lot of artifacts, a lot of history that we have, not the one that you'll see on when you visit on the museums and exhibitions. They're also behind the scenes of a lot of artifacts that we have. So engaging in such a creative way of bringing spaces, and I believe this is the beginning of something that is going to make museum cool. So, because normally when we try about something immersive, we think of projects, but now it's like going deep and also understanding like how it's so important to have a collaborative, like if you bring inclusivity in the space, it shouldn't be just only about language and stuff, it's also be about this tech that we have. So I believe this collaboration is something that's, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay, let's move out of South Africa a little bit. The City Royal Archives.
Hi everybody. My name is Boketi and I'm not training producer. I'm actually the lead of my team. Yes. So, well, we are so excited to be here, first of all, and we are excited to be part of the project. Lesotho has good stories to tell, and this is very good. You have no idea. So I'm gonna let the representative from the archive to say something first.
My name is Maneo Ralivito from the Royal Archives, and our archives has a collection that deals with royalty and chieftainship institution in Lesotho. We're talking correspondence, official correspondence between the kings or the paramount chiefs of Lesotho with the colonial officials, with the chiefs just below them in terms of hierarchy, so that there's flow of communication from the top down and from down to the top. So Also, it covers issues of succession, issues of boundary disputes or judgments that were passed on issues of boundary disputes within the country. So it's a lot. So we are excited to be part of this project, to be working with the Democratic team, and we are looking forward to networking with everybody in this space. And we hope that it will not be, I mean, it's just the beginning of more interactions as we immerse ourselves from working with the shelves and the archives into immersive technologies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Somebody said, give us the money, and I was wondering, Kenda, were you listening? Okay, so I'm gonna let my producer to say something about it.
Good evening. My name is Itumele Sohamani, and I am the producer for this project. Can I just introduce the team first a little bit? This is Memaneo, Telmo, our technologist. This is our trainee producer, Wow. Memulebohe. I'm so sorry. I'm not used to saying Mme to her because I taught her. So now the name becomes a problem. Okay, so this project, our team is basically going to be working on a project about succession, starting from the first king, or the first, we call him Morena. Mushweshwe. That was the founder of the Basotho people, and basically it's about the succession all the way up to our current king, King Liziya III. Yes, so it's going to be an immersive project, basically highlighting their lives, their successes, and the history from the beginning to the present. Thank you.
I really introduce the team, I'm concerned about the money. So, our technology, can I say something?
Hey guys, I'm Tomo, I'm the technologist, excuse me, on the project, and we basically doing mainly 360 video. We're going to be doing lots of aerial stuff up in the mountains, up in the clouds, all the natural beauty that Lesotho's got to offer, and we're scanning some of the artifacts, and we're using some 3D models and putting them into the video. Yeah, that's kind of my role.
Right, I guess we're good. Thank you, everybody. This is the team from the city.
Okay, so from the serious and political, we're going to move on to a bit of music and jive. The Music Crossroads Malawi team.
Whoa!
Hello everyone. So I'm not very artistic, but I think the message will be enough to raise the artistic, the creativity in your guys. So my name is Gaya Imatizompone. I work for Music Crossroads as director, and Music Crossroads is an NGO working with music and the youth. So in trying to work with these young people using music as a tool, we decided to establish a music academy. And so we did all the work, the groundwork,
and developed a curriculum and recruited teachers. But when they were about to start the actual teaching, we realized that the content we had was all foreign. So that was a problem because we wanted our own identity. So then came a project, Malawi Folk Songs and Folk Tales project, where we had to go out into the villages to document and collect these folk songs and folk tales from the people. And so here we were with the material, and the teaching process was okay. But then we realized that behind this material, there are real stories, real people, real villages. And it is something that is a treasure to the people. And therefore, we need to preserve it. At the same time, we need also to promote it. So with the education, we were good. But now new audiences needed to be reached out. The technology is, changing each and every time. So we thought that, bringing new audiences and also making it accessible in different formats would be the best in the current, setup. So here we are, presented our folk songs and folktales database, to Futures Past with our production team now to actually finish the job.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gai, for this. I'm Laura. I am the co-founder of Zomba Arts Platform and the producer on this project, which is called Zulolatu, which means yesterday today, yeah? I'm not Malawian, sorry. So we answered this call because we do lots of different things at Zomba Arts Platform, and interdisciplinary things are something we really like. Also, we have worked with Music Crossroad before, last year and the year before, on a project which was called The Future is Female, and the collaboration works really well. So we scouted across Malawi to find a team that had all of the different skills, and ended up actually merging with a second team that was also trying to apply because they had a technologist and we had everything else. And so Roosevelt, our technologist, comes from that merger. We have a very interesting interdisciplinary team because finding the right people in Malawi was a bit interesting. So Roosevelt comes from a gaming background. We have somebody who's a graphic designer and a fashion designer. We have somebody who's an illustrator and a graphic designer. We have somebody who's a videographer and a graphic designer. There's a trend somewhere. Then we also have Andrew, who's a trainee producer, but he is also a sound engineer and our program manager at Zomba Arts Platform. We all carry lots of hats in Malawi. You sort of have to if you want to get anything done. So with the work we're doing with the archive, one of the main things that really struck us when we started working on the project was that within my team, there is no knowledge of any of these songs, which I found really, I'm older than most of them. So I found that really odd because I do remember my grandmother singing songs to me, folk songs that were like traditionally Belgian. But all of my team members just did not have that connection to the folk song, which is shocking. All of my team members are urban youth, by the way, so that's how that discrepancy started. They were just, raised with screens and not with gogos in the village singing to them. So that was the first thing that struck us, like, the need is there. These kids are not being raised with that connection to the culture, and it is literally disappearing before our eyes. Malawi still has a very traditional lifestyle in the villages, but in the urban areas, it is pretty much like I'm here in Joburg, very disconnected as well. So these are things that within this decade, it will not be here anymore. So that was one, the disconnect. And then two, when we started listening to Gai, who obviously knows the archive pretty well, and also digging ourselves into the archives, it became very clear that this, the way songs are being used in these villages is as a sort of collective processing, which is something modern humans don't do. So we modern humans, everything that is deeply human, we will individualize and we will sit maybe with our devices, maybe with one friend, or maybe not because we're a little bit ashamed about these topics. So we internalize it. In these villages, whatever the topic, there's a song. If your husband is cheating with somebody else, there's a song. If this one girl is wearing a dress that's way too short and nobody likes it, there's a song. If you're not doing well mentally and you're like really, really bad, they will drag you to see this guy who dresses up really cool, and then you will dance. So everything is part of collective processing. So that's so distinctly different from how modernity has made us live our lives. And that was very deeply striking to all of us creatives on the team, because I think we all have this deep need to have this sort of collective processing, and we've lost it. So, okay, all of that is the foundation of what I'll just keep talking, sorry. Of what we're doing, we have designed an exhibition that is sort of geared towards educational families, children, people who want to learn about these songs, also because of where it will end up eventually. We start with a relatively traditional looking exhibition where there's paintings or physical visual work, whatever it's going to be, because there's a painter and, like I said, there's a fashion designer who might do stuff with fabric, I don't know. So we'll have 9 pieces of art and also objects, because there's some really interesting instruments being used that will soon also be no longer played, because there's like one old man who can still play them. So these things need to be preserved and need to be shown, and they also have this amazing sound, so it's really important. So very stereotypical looking exhibition, which then has sort of AR interactivity through a tablet. There will also be soundscape, there will be, you can listen to and use and maybe gamify things. So it's also a bit up in the air, but we'll get there. So what we're trying to do is something that is individual. Oh, I am looking at a piece of art, and then creating some wonder. Oh, you know, there's AR and there's little guys walking around. Oh, look, this is cool. Bringing people in so that it becomes more collective. And from there, once they're done with that space, they're pulled into what we call the fireplace, the traditional setting, the setting of song, where we will animate some of these songs. And oh yeah, there are characters in the 3 exhibitions. These characters will come together and sing the song of, you know, this is getting lost, and we want to preserve it, and each and every one of us is important in preserving this. That's it. Technological
Thank you, everyone. My name is Jozi from Nigeria, and I'm the technologist for this team. And for the most part, like she said, we're going to be doing storytelling and to see how we preserve the songs, the folk songs, through projection mapping and AR, and see how they all well complement each other. Yeah, thank you.
Just a little side note, Roosevelt has a hilarious horror game where I'm sure a lot of you have played done Duolingo, the owl hunts you down. So you chat to him about it afterwards because it's beautiful. It's very cool. Okay, and we shift to Johannesburg. If we could have our Gala Queer team, please.
Strong team. Strong team.
So, yay! I'm the engineer, so I'm going to be putting words in the mouth of my wonderful creative team, and all engineers do over time. I think I will introduce the lack of them quickly. So our director is Tisetso Dlala, who's a wonderful filmmaker and lecturer, and currently as doing for her PhD the VR archival experience for Robben Island. So we immediately were excited to get on the team as fast as possible. Our director, our producer is Kieran Reid. He's the managing director for 2NM Games, which is the original sort of collective company that started the process. And our junior producer is Conrad Green, who's a wonderful filmographer in many aspects as well. And we're very excited to have him on the team. We are working with Gala Archive, which is Gay and Lesbian Archive at BIS, which is very exciting, and I'm not sure if you are aware of this, but we wanted to work with them before this whole project started up as well. So this is definitely a passion project as well as a wonderful opportunity just to work with some amazing people for us. The work and the attempt at the project that we're going through awards is trying to work through two triads of themes. Those two triads being the past, the present, and future, as well as passive care, active care, and community care. The working name for the project is Acts of Care. We're doing a VR play to simulate and talk about intimate care that is very private and personal and sort of on a micro scale. We're looking towards then obviously talking about care through witness, through education, and then also towards the community as well. So that is what we're hoping to do. So we're going to do a VR aspect, an AR aspect, and a physical aspect. And hopefully we can pull the whole thing off and do wonderful to see all your stuff together. Thank you for that.
Just to speak very briefly on behalf of Gala Queer, so the archive that they have put forward as well is a archive called the Township 8 Project, which is a collection of documents, posters, letters that were created in Soweto in the 90s when HIV/AIDS, we know, was ravaging our country. And there were queer activists really pushing for views into HIV and AIDS and how people can protect themselves and get more information about it. And that story hasn't really been told. So we're really excited that we have a wonderful team that's going to look at this with care and creativity and really give those activists the view that they should have. So last but not least, we have a team from Cape Town, Joburg, Victoria, with the National Film, Video and Sound Archives.
Hi everyone. My name is Amy Louise Wilson. I am one half of an artist duo called the Lower Deck Film Factory. My other half, Francois Knitzer, is in Cape Town. And I am really excited to introduce my team tonight. We have representatives from the archive, the National Film, Video and Sound Archive in Pretoria. And we have Nomanda is the junior trainee producer. Kailo Molefe is co-director on this project. I am co-director together with Francois Knitzer and producer. And I would love to invite a member of the archive to just speak a little bit about the archival material that we will be working with.
Hi, my name is Christopher Grove. I've been at the archive since 14 October 1998. I was 20. Almost 50 now. The collection that we submitted is something called the Mulman Opnames, or the Mulman recordings. They were 14 reels of 35mm motion picture film. It was filmed from the period 1960 to 1966. It was filmed by someone who was assisting the National Party government at the time of, it was called the Department of Bantu Affairs, Department of Native Affairs at the time. There was a guy called Mr. Mulman, and he was assisting this department, and he was like a film enthusiast. And he had like a 16mm motion picture film camera, and he went around shooting anything in or about South Africa. For example, like the forced removals from a place called Cater Manor, Port Elizabeth Snake Park. It's like a mishmash of different things. The Republic Day celebrations, 31 May 1961. Yeah, it was like a random mishmash of different things, and it was a motion picture, black and white motion picture film. And we decided to submit this collection because it was culturally and historically significant. And we approached the Electric South team, and we submitted our proposal. And I personally did the transfers of 14 reels of film on something called the Sintel Blackmagic Sintel scanner, using a program called DaVinci Resolve version 19. And I had to do, for example, if you have color movies, you do red, green, and blue color value adjustments, for example, color film fades, over a period of 60 years. So this footage is from 1960 to 1966 in black and white. So with black and white film, you just do darkness and brightness and contrast correction. For example, when it's transferred from something called motion picture film, a duplicate negative, it's a negative which is like a reverse inverted image of how you would see real life. It would be like inside out. And transferring the film, you convert it to a positive image from motion picture negative. And then everything, for example, if you look at a piece of film, it's like inverted gray and white images, like the old-fashioned way of taking photographs. And when you convert it into positive, it appears like a brownish sepia tone tint. And then you have to convert it, you have to slide the saturation down from 100% to 0 to create a black and white. And then you do correction, for example, the lightness and darkness, you move a couple of the buttons back and forth to try and equalize the balance. For example, if maybe you're filming, let's see, one of the shots is inside the ISCOR building, which shows the ISCOR factory in the 1960s. And for example, if you equalize the darkness and lightness on film in black and white, which is a little bit difficult than doing it in color. You have to try and imagine everything is in black and white, and you have to balance everything. And yeah, and then we submitted it to the artistic team in high quality QuickTime files, or also known as MOV, which is like a very high contrast, high quality output video. And then at the archives ourselves, when we do maybe transfers of educational documentaries in 16mm motion picture film on 35mm, yes, and when you transfer it, you put it out, you do the output into QuickTime, which is the high quality one, which is known as the preservation copy, because it's the best copy you can find. It's like close to Ultra HD for UHD, and then you have preservation. Yeah, that's the preservation copy. Then the user copy is MPEG-4, which is like a little bit better than in between DVD and Blu-rays quality. So we gave the team the MOV quality files. There were 14 of them. For example, if there's maybe, I'm just saying for size data comparisons, if you have maybe a 10 minutes 35 millimeter reel, which runs for about 10 or 11 minutes, it's about this size, and you're looking at the 35 millimeter film, the size from the inside out, might be maybe 3 gigabytes for the MPEG 4 quality, and then for the QuickTime or MOV, it might be 300 gigabytes. So it's a very, very large hard drive. And then we gave it to the artistic team, and they were very impressed with the results. And did the artistic team say a bit about it?
Hi everybody, can you hear me properly? Okay, I'm weAReVR. I'm a co-director and key researcher as part of our team. As I'm sure you heard from Christopher Grove, there's an immense amount of care being poured into these archival materials. They're being handled very carefully. And I also wanted to make a shout out to Sianda Duguzana, who's also here from the archival team, and Masepo Mukre, who's not here tonight. Essentially, these films, we are similarly trying to handle them with as much care as possible. They are arrestingly beautiful, and they also capture moments in South African history that I think everyone has some form of meaning that has been created around them. So there's a number of challenges. Firstly, there's no sound. Secondly, we don't know that much about the details around their creation. We're trying to find out more about Moment himself, but the nature of the films puts them in a kind of genre of governmental production that is very much propagandistic, essentially trying to legitimize apartheid and separate development as something that's both beneficial to white people and to black people and all people of South Africa. And so there's a distinct framing, essentially, that is legitimizing apartheid, but there's no words or text. And so our goal, and what we're trying to do, is trying to expand the frame and bring humanity, which is apparent visually, but is missing in terms of voice, and also in terms of the kind of contemporary experiences of the legacies of apartheid into the present. So one of the ways in which we're doing that, there's a number of ways. The first is to emphasize the humanity, basically emphasize the human aspect. And so we're working with a company of actors who are essentially going to improvise and respond to the reels in a theater in the round, which will be filmed in 360 degrees. We're also working with a sound artist to develop instruments using objects that appear in the reels, and musicians to generate sound, essentially live scoring, that speaks to the performers and to the reels. And in addition to that, we are taking screenshots of the reels themselves. We're treating the reels as the central primary source, essentially. Screenshots of the reels and creating collage elements and scenographic elements to populate this theater space, which will then be filmed in 360 and presented as a 360 experience with sound, performers, depth, etc. It's very ambitious. We're a little bit scared, but we are extremely excited. Thank you.
Okay, that's us. Please chat to all the team members. Follow us on social media, I guess, to see what happens. And as I mentioned, we are looking at launching the exhibition so around August. So as those go live, we will share all that information with everyone. Please come support, please connect. We are looking to build a network as wide as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being here, and thank you for your work. So thank you so much. We have one more speaker who's going to be chatting to us a little bit about some hardware, so a little bit more technical stuff. So here's well, Say thanks. Let's give Andrew a welcome.
Thanks, Dale. I really don't know how to follow all those amazing speakers, presenters. The project sounds super exciting, and I can't wait to see more of what's going to come out. And yeah, so let me introduce myself. I'm Andrew McHenry. Very much like weAReVR. I've run Mobile Monday in South Africa for the last 10, 15 years. I'm the co-chair of Mobile Monday. So we pretty much center around building an ecosystem and a community, much like what you guys are doing and girls are doing around VR in the mobile space. But like I said, I'm crossing over into your space now because I really think this is where the real exciting stuff is happening now. It used to be in mobile on the devices, but this is really where the exciting stuff is happening. So I'm just recently joined your community, and what I've seen here tonight and experienced tonight is super exciting. And like Dale said, so I'm just really here to introduce some hardware, okay? Some devices, okay? So the Virtua device, okay? And this other device from the distributors, and he didn't want to come up and present himself. So Nish is going to be here to answer any questions, but I think what's really super exciting and why I'm here tonight is because all the stuff that you guys are doing and the creativity and the stories and the content that is being built to be consumed for young, old, the grannies, all the people that you talked about, what you guys are doing, the content that you're creating to be experienced in these environments is just super awesome and exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it and experiencing all of your projects in this. So yeah, thanks for having us here tonight. Okay, come and play. What are they? Yeah, well, I'm not going to tell you. There were so many speakers and everything. I'm sure people want to eat and drink and socialize. If you want to experience them, come and plug them in. It's going to allow you to take all the awesome content in the 3D immersive environments that you're talking about. You're going to be able to experience it. It's very much like the Ray-Ban glasses and stuff. This is on a bit of a deeper level, okay? So these are like the next level, okay? Just come and experience it. I don't want to tell you about them. Come and play with them, okay?
Thanks.
Well, now it's the open mic session. Anybody who's actually working on an awesome project of one sort or another, can be something very big. Yeah, we've got the gentleman right there at the back. Give him a round of applause. Let everybody know what the name is, what exactly you're working on, how you can actually inspire the crowd to actually work in the same field.
Cool. I actually have a website. I'm not sure if we can pull it up.
Can we bring it up?
Pull it up.
Yeah. We'll try it out.
Yeah.
Is it too much?
No.
Look it up.
Hi guys, my name is Jason. I'm a director traditionally in film, but now I'm working in immersive as well. I was too nervous to speak last time, but I think this will be more pertinent with this archival crowd. So this is a archive of the Owl House in New Bethesda. I'm not sure how. So these are all storyboards. The project doesn't exist yet, but it was part of the Venice Biennale Cinema College. It's about these two people, Helen Martens and Koos Melchers. Over a period of 12 years, they built this esoteric sculpture garden filled with about 500 mystical images and symbols. This project is endorsed by Sarah. But what interests me a lot about this archive is the story that's being repressed. You can click on the arrow, yeah. In South Africa, because it was created by a white Afrikaans woman in a small, very conservative town, who stopped going to church and started kind of accumulating these mystical symbols. But all of the 400 sculptures were built by her worker, a man who identifies as a bushman and who tragically didn't get his credit for the work that he did. So it's quite a quirky world with characters like the Boxman and the little devil is the creature you saw walking around earlier. And also importantly, it's narrated by Julia Malkas, who is the granddaughter of Kuas. So in the world, you'll be able to inspect Helen's letters, which tell the tragic story of her life and her depression and her ultimate suicide. And you're essentially, the main quest is that the whole world is made out of, I think you could just leave it on that page, eh? No worries. The medium of the house is primarily light. She replaced a lot of the windows with stained glass and filtered colored glass. And as she begins going blind, you take up one of her red lanterns and you relight her house. New Bethesda was also famously the last town in South Africa to get electricity, and the town preserves this darkness. There's no street lights, and it's radically dark. A lot of people do stargazing there and star photography. So playing around with this sense and this duality of darkness and enlightenment, Helen was seeking enlightenment outside of her traditional religious system. And amidst this is the tale of Kuas. And the defining moment of this relationship is when Helen commits suicide. She pens a final letter, and she hands this to Kuas before being rushed off to hospital. But the tragedy is that Kuas was illiterate, he never learned how to read. So he gave the letter to the town Dumini, the head of the church, who never revealed to him what it said. So we don't know what the letter said, but Kuas lived his life not knowing where his relationship with Helen was left off after working with her for 12 years. This is at the height of apartheid in 1976. So after spending 12 years creating these sculptures and creating this world, he is forced to, he basically loses all access to the artwork that he's had the opportunity to work on for, well, I think his highlight of his life. So that's the story that we're trying to make. The project was mentored at the Venice Biennale, and we're currently in pre-production after mapping this massive archive filled with, as I said, hundreds of sculptures, hundreds of artifacts, hundreds of tchotchkes, and yeah, seeking development funding at this point. Thanks, guys.
Nice, man.
Thank you so much, Jason. And we've got another gentleman coming to the floor. Give him a round of applause. Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Karabo Janini. So I'm a mechanical engineer, but slash artist as well. I'm pretty much been working on AR and VR as well a bit, like maybe started 2 years ago, kind of thinking about it and trying to explore it. For the longest time, I am also kind of, not kind of, I am a machine learning kind of enthusiast as well. So that kind of just got me into AR and VR as well. I'd like to also preface by saying that while I am building this, our core tool right now, it is definitely not as distinguished or, sensitive about cultural kind of elements like our distinguished guest kind of explained here. But in essence, what motivated it was when I was young, I was a huge dancer, and a lot of times we'd go to the mall, and then, in fact, every weekend we'd be at the mall and have these dance battles, and that's kind of where we spent a lot of our time. So I was, coming down to today, the mall has kind of lost that kind of reach to children, so to say, or for whatever reason that may be. But basically, what I'm building is kind of trying to return that kind of experience for young people in malls and areas like the like. So basically, I kind of wrote down the idea and I sent it to my friend. I think I'm just gonna repeat it like that. So I'm building towards something I call Mall Connect, but it's less about launching single AR or VR product and more about understanding how immersive technology can function as shared infrastructure to inside physical retail spaces. I'm not approaching it as a campaign layer. I'm approaching it as a systems layer. There are a few components I'm intentionally studying. First is spatial anchors in high traffic environments, how persistent digital layers can exist inside malls in a way that feels native, not intrusive, not brand by brand activations, but a shared spatial foundation. Second is a cross retailer interaction design. What happens when AR isn't siloed per store, but becomes a connected layer across multiple tenants? How does discovery work? How does navigation feel? How do you enhance physical retail rather than distract from it? Third is incentive architecture, the relationship between mall operators, tenants, brands, and users. If immersive layers generate value, how is that value distributed? Studying models that align incentives instead of creating fragmentation. And fourth, which is especially important to me, is viability in emerging markets. What makes immersive retail scalable outside of high budget flagship environments? How do you design something modular, lightweight, and cost sensitive enough to work in places like Rosebank or Ilanga Mall, which is in Mpumalanga, which is where I grew up, not just global tech capitals. So I'm currently focused on mastering like the building blocks, spatial mapping, lightweight AR overlays, constrained environment user experience, and ethical data architecture. But long term, I don't see AR in malls as novelty. I see it as a connected tissue, linking physical commerce, digital culture, and behavioral intelligence into one coherent layer. So yeah, no, that's it. Thank you.
Oh, ladies first, and then I think it's Setu, right? Yeah, without the dreads. Well, anyway, we can go ahead.
Hello, hello. How are you guys? Johannesburg, oh yes. I'm Nomanja Vilegazi, and I'm a filmmaker, I'm a documentary filmmaker and a gender-based violence activist. And I thought I'd take this opportunity just to share, number one, how amazed I am with this opportunity from Electric South and IFAS. Like, it's so cool. And the main thing, the main message that I'm coming with today is that what we're doing, I believe, is counter-archive. It's taking archive that already exists, and it exists in its mundane library labeling and dust-covered sort of existence. And we take it and we reanimate it, we rethink about it in a way that benefits, especially the youth. I think that's the one main string that I heard. But basically, I just finished my master's at UCT in documentary arts on Saki Batman, Sarah Saki Batman. And essentially what I found within that study was how important archive is. Not only does archive live in the library, but it's also in our bodies. It's also in our environments. The first time I fell in love with archive was really through the District 6 Museum, and just realizing how between there's the road in Cape Town, Upper Constitution Hill and Constitution Hill, where now new people that have made a life there will ultimately be forcibly removed by the city of Cape Town. Just like
the 1960s. And literally within that block, you can see the foundations of houses. You can see the walls and the broken mirrors and all of the shingles of doors. And it's just so crazy, the evidence of colonial violence, the evidence of apartheid violence that is still found everywhere. So I just wanted to share that I, through my research, and I'll finish my final film about Sada Batman, talking about the repatriation of Sada Batman, using Zola Maseko, the filmmaker who made The Life and Times of Sada Batman and The Return of Sada Batman in 1998 and 2002. And what's so monumental is that in 2002, even before that, sorry, Sada Batman, if you don't know the story, I don't have time, because this isn't a Sada Batman conference, but go Google. If you don't know, it's okay. If you don't know, because she's not taught. So from my perspective, I'd really like to share how important the use of art is, and that's really what we're doing. The poet, Diana Ferris, the late writer, poet, and activist Diana Ferris, wrote a poem called I've Come to Take You Home. And that poem was featured in legislation that brought Sada Batman back home in 2002. Before that, Nelson Mandela went to go ask the French president directly and was rejected. And other very important figures went to go ask, the Krika people went to go ask for Nakwa, all the different tribes. And the only thing that released Sada Batman from that terror, still posthumously, is art. And I think that's just something so valuable, is that we really do have the opportunity with these archives to speak to healing. Because at least for me, that's what I believe that we're all doing with all these different archives, is healing parts of ourselves. And I've always believed that if you see, especially South African archive, you're seeing a whole new lens that was never, ever taught to you. And I'm so excited for my team, I'm so excited for everyone else. My film is called Bones, and it will screen at Stellenbosch University on March 19th. And in honor of Dr. Ferris, because we premiered the film on the 29th of Jan, and then she passed away the next day. So for me, I just had to take this opportunity to sing her praises, sing Sada Batman's praises, and archive praises, and invite you guys. So yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. So, on to the next speaker. Introduce yourself, what you want to actually just chat with us for the night.
Hi everyone. I hope all you guys are really good. First and foremost, this is so cool. I'm just like such a huge fan of, always love seeing gatherings of creatives, both in tech and creativity, just combining together. So I know I'm with my people. Hearing interesting projects and stuff it's always the best. On me and my side, my name is Setsun Zamande. I am the CEO and co-founder of this platform called CoLab. So we kind of gathered together because back in the days, I always had this, like, I love going to interesting creative spaces, but there was always siloed in itself.